Welcome to the Tots Cafe show. I'm Angela.
And I'm Tina. And today's show is a special episode. And we'll be reviewing all our previous episodes about nonviolent parenting. Nonviolent parenting is anything that harms the body, mind, or spirit of a child.
During episode 1, we interviewed Jolette Jai of Peace of Mind Parenting. She gave us some wonderful insight and wisdom around respectful communication with our children. What we found to be rather eye-opening was the whole concept around being direct versus dominant. And Jolette gave us some amazing examples as far as setting limits with some choices, and that really seemed to make a lot of sense to us.
Yep. What dominant actually looks like. So a friend told us this story, that there was a woman and the son in the restaurant, and the son was about 6, 7 years old, and they had a lady with them. We don't know if they were related or not, but the mom was talking to this lady, and the son wanted to talk, and he was fidgeting with forks and spoons, the silverware on the table, and she would go and stop that, and stop fidgeting. And then the boy wanted to talk, and she goes, sit up straight, talk proper, and the whole time just hovering over this little boy, over the control that she was doing to this child. And all he wanted to do is express himself in a way where this other woman got it. He was excited to talk to this woman. He's sitting up straight, looking over at his mom, making sure he's doing everything right. It's not about doing things right. The child's a child, and allow them to unleash and speak and say and do what they need to do. Obviously he's fidgeting. He must be nervous about something.
Or bored.
He could be bored, especially taking a child to a restaurant can be very boring for them. They like to play. They need to be adventurous in the dirt and the mud, don't they? I mean, what Jolette said is to really look at ourselves first and how we're being with the child. Really watch what we're doing and saying to them instead of being, what was it, the demand that she was?
Yeah, being very dominant and demanding and controlling. How we want our children to emanate being compassionate and loving and nurturing. And if we as parents are treating our children like that and slapping them, and they're going to turn around and do that eventually probably to us and then to friends and family and other people. And there goes the respect, because we've modeled something different than when we desire in our own children.
If you want your child to be compassionate, you be compassionate. If you want your child to be loving and caring, you be loving and caring. We'll have our off days, they'll have their off days, but we just need to recognize what those days are and really be there for our children.
There's other language that could have been used, and other actions, of course.
Or, are you okay? You're fidgeting with your forks and spoons. Is there something you need to say? Or even something like that at their eye level. There's words in our house that we work our best not to use, like these disempowering words that we're talking about. Stop that, don't, oh, good try,
Bad boy, no.
bad boy, no, and can't. Can't's a really big word.
They're very disempowering.
It's, some people I know, they practice these, not saying these words in the house, but yet they take their child to a daycare and those words are flying around. So they come home saying those words. But what you do is just disregard it. Ignore what they just said. If they're adamant, I said no. Then just say, okay, I get that. That's not what you want to do. Let's figure something else out. Maybe you're not giving them attention. That's a lot of my son. I'm not giving him attention. I'm working away.
Yeah, on the computer, on the phone, and they're wanting attention, and instead of disregarding that, just saying, okay, I need to get off the phone or off the computer and just being with them, because otherwise that could escalate into some type of a big expression in the child.
So watch your words. Watch what comes out of your mouth. Really pay attention. And you'll see, oh, no wonder my child's saying this and that and that and that. Oh, I didn't realize I actually said that. It'll surprise you. It surprises us what our children come up with. Where do they get that? Oh yeah, they got it from us.
Really try to be aware of the good and the bad, and not placing good and bad on anything with my child. I'm sort of a null person there. they're going to figure out if something is favorable to them or not favorable to them without my judgment or me imposing my judgment or opinion.
In episode 2, we interviewed Naomi Aldort, the author of Raising Children, Raising Ourselves. It was around the topic of well-behaved children without discipline. Can you believe it? Without discipline.
One of the topics that really stood out for us was timeouts. Timeouts have seemed so common, just in what I've observed in being around other parents and their children, and it's commonly talked about. Even in music class one time, a mother said to her child, you know, you're going in timeout in the music class, and I was quite shocked about that. So
was the child acting up?
The child was not even acting up.
What was the child doing?
The child was dancing and singing, so there must have been something really subtle that the mom didn't care for and chose to exclude the child from class.
Was he dancing and singing when no one else was dancing and singing?
Not at all. There was music playing, everyone had their instruments, they were dancing, they were singing.
Wow.
I know that's not uncommon. I mean, for a mom to feel so comfortable as to do something like that.
Yeah.
So the topic of timeouts was really, really important to Tina and I because we wanted to know the impact of that. We had never done it with our children.
Oh, I have. Oh,
You
I've
have
done it.
not.
I have. I've done it twice. And, well, 3 times. The first time, my sister helped me out. You know, it's 50-50. There's parents out there who are adamant that the timeouts work, and then there's the other, and research done that timeouts work, and then the
Books
other
written about it.
Oh, gosh, everything is in there.
Yeah. What really backed up our non-belief in timeouts was what Naomi said in her interview, which was so provoking. Just the impact on the child, being excluded from the room or excluded from any acknowledgement. I mean, the child isn't sitting there in timeout thinking, oh my gosh, I really messed up, I'm not going to do this again. They're thinking how humiliated that they feel.
It's humiliating.
Or how to get back at the person who put them in timeout, or maybe their little brother that they were being rough with, how they can get back at their brother, or do it when their parents aren't looking. So it's really not addressing the actual behavior. It's really the responsibility is on us.
Or, like my son didn't get outside. You know, they need outdoor play.
Yes.
And indoors, he's starting to act up, starting to throw things, or, you know.
Get anxious, probably.
Anxious, that's a great word. Yeah. She comes up with great words. The next topic we talked about with Naomi was drama. Validating without drama. So, they trip and fall. I think most mothers out there know not to get hysterical about them tripping and falling, because then they'll get hysterical, right? But even saying, uh-oh, oh no, it can cause and create that little bit of drama.
A message that something's wrong.
Yes, the message is something's wrong.
Her recommendations as far as just validating without drama were just simply expressing observations. Oh, your blocks fell and you wanted the blocks to go higher. And seeing if the child wants to put them back again or go and do something else. But just simply expressing that rather than, oh my gosh, the blocks fell, you'll never be able to put it up the way that it was. You know, everything's ruined, the whole day's a mess. So just really expressing what's there, and that way the child can problem solve effectively without getting into the emotion of feeling like a victim.
I mean, let's just relax on them. It's not a big drama that a child spilt something or broke a jar at the grocery store. And then when they grow up, guess what? They create drama for their lives.
And beat themselves up the way they were beat up, maybe, you know, verbally by their parents. You know, why did you do that? Oh, that was so clumsy, whatever. Then that talk will become internal, and they'll start saying that to themselves.
Yes. Oh.
And Naomi actually did mention an amazing story in her book about a young boy who broke the window. And the father was about ready to take off for a meeting. And he got himself together before he approached the boy. And the boy came in crying because he was just so upset he saw what he did. And instead of the father just, you know, letting him have it verbally, he just said, you know, Daddy makes mistakes too and breaks things. And he just hugged him and said, let's just get the broom and clean it up. Yeah. So I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah, ask your child if they want to help clean up. That's really good advice.
But not to beat them up verbally, because they already feel so bad themselves. They're trying so hard. They're really doing the best that they can. They want to fit in. And it seems like a lot of this upset comes from us, from the way that we were parented, and just acknowledging that what we're hearing and that stirring that we're feeling when we're starting to get upset is just from something that happened to us, and we don't need to pass that on to our children. I think it's really time that we take responsibility to what happened to us and then start a new slate with our little ones. In episode 3, we spoke to Jeannie Lee. She is an attachment parent, and she shared with us the benefits of being an attachment parent. Co-sleeping was one of the topics that we found very eye-opening. A lot of people may choose to keep their child in another room, but Jeannie talked about how vital that time is at night when the child has easy access to the parents. If they're feeling unsettled, if they can't sleep, whatever, that security of being near the parents really contributes to their well-being.
The co-sleeping is so important. It creates their safety, it creates their independence later, and it creates them to be confident, not scared of the dark. You know, a lot of us separate our children, don't we? We have separate rooms for our babies, our infants, in a separate room with the crib, and we think, okay, we'll put a little, what are those walkie-talkie things?
Oh yes, the monitors.
The monitors. And thinking if we hear our baby cry, we can run to it. Their baby wants to be with you. It's the touch, the love that they're longing for.
Well, Jean Leadoff talks about this in the continuum concept. The baby has been growing for 9 months, and then all of a sudden there's all this lack of attachment. The baby's in a crib or in a bassinet, in the car seat, and just to be able to have that close connection and keep the baby as close as possible, especially for the next 9 months, and even on as far as whenever the child is needing attachment and requesting it through their actions.
Inspiration to see Jeannie and how she is with her child, how she doesn't turn her head to make sure the other parents are approving of what she's doing. She just does what she does. It's just really neat to see a woman so confident and strong in her, and who she is and who her children are as an attachment mother.
And the connection is so beautiful too, just to have that, just appreciating the connection that you have towards your child and the connection that your child wants towards you. There's a lot of parents that we'll see, and they'll be out and about, and the baby's crying, just a little infant crying in the stroller. Or move the cart and say shh, 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 and pat the infant. And it's just that the infant wants to be held, not in that cart wrapped with a lot of blankets. It can't move. It doesn't have the closeness and warmth of the mommy.
All of us, like Jeannie said in the interview, can be attachment parents, really. If you're a full-time mom, it is really hard to do it. You have a certain amount of time to spend with your children to be an attachment parent. Do your best you can, and I know all of you are. Finally, in episode 4, we interviewed Tracy Roberts, who's a certified teacher. She studied the works of Alfie Cohen, who's an author of Punished by Rewards. And in this interview, we have learned so much about how detrimental praise and rewards really is. So we interviewed Tracy Roberts and found out that overpraising is very detrimental too. Such as saying, good boy, good sharing, good job for going to the toilet, yay for you for throwing the ball not very well.
You're such a big girl.
These phrases are overpraising, and overpraising can cause and create the child to be real needy of that, not doing it out of their own free will. Now there's another thing that people talk about with us about overpraising or even praising, like, oh, it's a good thing to praise, and what harm can it come to my child if I keep praising it? Then how do I say, oh, they're doing a great job, or what if I'm excited about what they're doing, or they did throw the ball well? What do you say then?
But she does talk about how it steals their joy. So really, if just saying you did it,
you did it.
If there's too much praise, it puts a lot of focus and pressure on the child, and they're looking at their performance rather than authentically what they want to say or do.
Just state, wow, Billy, you threw that ball far and it went really fast. Or, you did it, you went to the toilet for the first time.
A lot of parenting is just so generationally habitual, and it seems too, I mean, I notice with myself that I really need to determine, is this something generational that was done to me, or is this the way that I want to treat my child? We're very excited for you to come and check it out, because the information on there is so impactful, especially if you feel a loss with your parenting and just really want some progressive information that's going to make an impact in your life with your child.